The week ended today with a realization that there is another Nifty reject coming up. Some of the indices will be rebalanced on 30th December. There is a bunch of stocks that will see inflows: NTPC, PNB, IndusInd, Federal Bank, Bank of Baroda, Adani Enterprises, and ICICI Bank. There will be outflows from several companies: SBI, HDFC Bank, Power Grid, Kotak Mahindra, BL, ONGC, and Coal India. This time I am not going to take any aggressive positions for this balancing at all. And in the domestic markets, there is a strange pattern emerging. Either markets open with a gap up but peak immediately, or peak somewhere around 10:30, and after that markets consolidate with a downward bias. And this applies to Nifty, Bank Nifty, Next 50. IT, of course, is in its own mojo right now. And today, the sector of the day was defense. And the stock which otherwise goes up every day, Zen Technologies, that consolidated and that went through profit booking. Let me zoom this a bit. So there was an injection in most defense stocks somewhere around 1250. I haven't got to the bottom of what happened around this time, but nearly all stocks went through the roof at this time. Look at GRSC volumes, 7x, 9% gain. In fact, that was up more than 10% at this particular point. Now, don't get alarmed by Mazgaon Dock because this number is corresponding to a stock split. That is why some of these gains look minuscule. The result season is coming nearer, and I will today talk about Hindustan Zinc. And actually, this is one stock where I will probably exit my position soon. I will maybe think a little more over the weekend about the theory that I'll talk about in the Nugget section today. IndusInd had two news today. One is that it put distressed assets from its microfinance arm on an auction mode today. And second is it is going to see some inflows on 30th. Reliance was in the top 5 today. You can perhaps make money by alternately selling and buying Reliance. Along with it today, M&M, ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, Bajaj Finance, they were at the top. What was taking Nifty down? Adani Ports, which was at the top yesterday. Larsen Toubro, Coal India, ONGC, and SBI. Now, people are reacting very violently to analyst reports on most portals. There were some reports today that Coal India, it will produce 3% coal less than the targets. This is no news because of the water that has got filled in Coal India's mines. Nothing unknown if you are an investor in Coal India. But this stock continues to get punished, down 1.6% today also, just 5% away from a 52-week low. Broader markets were actually worse than yesterday, and a lot worse because reds were a lot more and the deep reds were a lot more. And this is despite the fact that the Adani pack was not at the bottom. It was actually at the top today also. Adani Energy, Adani Total. Along with them, one more red stock that has gone down only in the last quarter, Avenue Supermarts, which is D-Mart, and Zydus. Bajaj Holdings, for some reasons, continues to dance at the top. But look at the red. They start from here, and the situation changed after 10:30, and the reds kept getting bigger and bigger in quantity and size. Only 11 stocks were up at the end of the day in Next 50. At the bottom today, we had concentration of power stocks, ancillaries actually, REC, Siemens, PFC, BHEL. Giving them company was Gas Authority. After a long time, we are seeing automobiles at the top for second consecutive day. 3 of the heavyweight sectors at the top. The towers also look taller compared to the ones which were down. However, the green towers were lot less. See here, 17 out of 36 sectors were up. We are seeing consumption crawl up slowly, and we'll talk about it a little more in the dashboard. Now, from the dashboard, it appears that the Nifty stocks, there were more greens than red. However, the volumes continue to be low. Both Nifty and Bank Nifty are getting into a very narrow range by mid of the day. This is Bank Nifty and this is Nifty. After approximately 12 o'clock, there is hardly any range. Overall, in the bifurcation of private banks, there were more greens than red today. However, the red stocks continue and the trading happened at very low volumes across the pack. Public sector banks, however, were bleeding and bleeding heavily, 1% down for this bunch today. Investing pack looks a bit red today, primarily because the stocks that were going up a lot, BSC, CDSL, and KFintech, they came under the hammer, heavy profit booking. KFintech was down 5%. Today, the public sector companies were in for some hammering. PFC, REC both fell 2.5%. The Bajaj franchisee, however, was rocking up anywhere between 1 to 1.5%. There was some buying seen in the microfinance pack as well. Spandana Spurti was up 5%. This particular sector has been a falling knife, but people who catch the knife at the bottom, they will make immense amount of money in these stocks. IT was a mixed bag. Overall, the pack went nowhere, 0% literally. Volumes were low across the board. From now on, the gains in these stocks and the P's in these stocks will become very stock specific. Last 1 month, we were seeing a general bull run across the sector. In the telecom sector, most stocks were down anywhere between 1 to 2%. No such problem for the auto pack, which I've been talking about for a week now. This sector saw buying at good volumes today. The gains in auto ancillary were even better. The only stock sulking a lot here is Motherson Sumi Wiring, which hit another low. I'm going to talk about Hindustan Zinc in the Nugget section, but the metal sector was looking really in poor shape today. The reds continue to increase across the board and there is no green. Today, oil and gas also came under the hammer. Most stocks were down anywhere between 1 to 2%. The sibling sector power continues to be in a bad shape. Here also volumes were low, but the cuts were bigger. NTPC green is playing a seesaw every day, that too of 3 to 5%. Today it was up 3%. Premium Energy also had a good outing, 2% up. This is the lone stock in the green zone. Look at Pharma. So much green. Today's hero was Ajanta Pharma, up 9%. Volumes also were looking good across the pack, several rockets and a lot of 100% plus volumes. The sectoral rotation continues. We had investment banking, then we had IT, now we have Pharma, which is the flavor of the month. Consumption was looking good today. Devyani International, that was up 6%. Some economic data was released today, which actually indicates that all these reds should not be red. And I'll talk about it when we reach the dashboard. The fast food companies are doing lot better. There were two rockets here as well, and Jubilant Foods hit a new high. Select railway stocks saw some buying, but overall the sentiment remains weak across the pack. Overall, a subdued day, not much action. Nifty, Bank Nifty, Nifty IT, little positive, but overall not much movement. Auto continues to rock for the second consecutive day. Next 50 is looking really weak these days. Now, this is the data I was talking about. India's current account deficit moderated 1.2% compared to 1.3. But again, this number can be debated based upon this particular entry, which says rural consumption rose 9.2% over 2022-2023 and urban consumption rose 8.3%. Now, if the bases are unchanged, then this data is good. Why is consumption looking bad then? Why are consumption stocks sulking? Fine print will come over time. The main thing to watch is the bases need to be same. Also, household have spent more in food in 2023-24. Now, what that means is inflation is real, that's one. But second is there is buying happening in the food and consumption sector in any case. So those stocks should not be beaten down at all right now. There is something contrary somewhere. FI trend is back to mostly reds, and Apple may hit $4 trillion before this calendar year ends. Just one good day needed. My trades for the day, this entire week I have not sold anything, and I have bought today also, not too much in quantity, but from rebalancing perspective and in general I thought that these stocks are good only. Bank of Baroda and Federal Bank, 1 unit each. I'm happy to hold them for 15-20 days and the results also. These are both good banks. And I also moved and hid some money in gold ETF. I don't want to spend the entire ammunition right now. And I bought Mazgaon Dock. I feel that it will go up in the next few days once the split part settles down. Hindustan Zinc, I was looking forward to add this stock more if it falls more. But then I was analyzing the stock and I found certain things because of which I think that I will not hold this stock any longer and I'll probably remove it from my list completely. Let me walk you through the rationale here. First, let's talk about international zinc prices. They peaked somewhere in the middle of 2022, and in this particular 5-year period, they bottomed out approximately around 2400. Right now, they are at 3000, about 15% up for the year, approximately. You can associate this recent high with the stock price also to a large extent. It is a commodity stock. Now, government sold 1.6% stake in Hindustan Zinc recently. So when you see this for December, you will see government's holding reduced. Last quarter, promoters also have reduced their stake. Not great sign if the two bigger stakeholders are reducing their stake. Now, if you see the PNL, the worst period was obviously the pandemic. After that, the sales were looking good only, but now they are stagnating 34, 29, 31. More or less, the demand and price equation is balancing out somewhere around 30,000 crore kind of number. I'm talking about annual sales here. Look at the fantastic OPM, 50%. This is a national resource and a lot of it is sent abroad, sold internationally. And India has to import similar amount of zinc at lot higher value internationally. That's the tragic part because it's a national resource owned by a private company. Government of course gets its royalty whether we consume it in India or export. Now if you see the profit before tax, that's also kind of stagnating or reducing only. The EPS number for the year I'm talking about 22, 24, 18, 20, again it has become range bound. The EPS, annual EPS 18.9, 22.8, 24.9, 18.3. Zinc prices have reduced, so EPS obviously will fall only. But if you look at the dividends, say 2024, about 29 rupees of dividend have already been given out. We might get one more dividend, which means Vedanta, the parent, is giving out lot more dividend from the company compared to what they are earning. If you look here below also, these numbers are high. 26, 13, 15, 21, 3 to 4 dividends a year of good size. Most of them are higher than the annual earnings of the company. How are they managing this? See this reserve line, 35 here, 32, 39, 31, 33, 12, 14, 8,000 crores. This reserve is approaching zero now. The company is being cannibalized. It's like the parent taking a kidney from the child to stay alive because Vedanta Group has lot of loans internationally which they have to repay. There are many beneficiaries of it. Vedanta PLC, they get a lot of money because this money first goes to Vedanta India. They give even a bigger dividend. That along with the other sources of Vedanta India go to Vedanta PLC. Part of it goes to government as government share of dividend and royalty for the national resource. The third part goes to shareholders. Shareholders get a good dividend yield. They are happy. They feel it is better than FD. Why should we complain? But this company is slowly going towards bankruptcy. It will not go bankrupt, however, because the reserves will keep coming out of the earth and there will be a time when zinc will become very costly again. There will be a good cycle for 1 year, 2 year. These reserves will not be restored. The dividend will go up. Also, you might see that the company will now start taking loans and continue to give good dividends. That is what PSU companies did for many, many years. So, as a result, I would not want to keep my money here because I think the business model itself is getting rotten. If you disagree with any of this philosophy, let me know. I also want to rethink before I take action, especially around the reserve theory. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic weekend and I will see you next week.